Yes.
This isn't a direct question to you, but
Right.
why is there, I don't know, a bunch of friends in the military, there's always tension between the different branches. They're always competing, and they're always bad-mouthing each other.
Alright, I have a really good answer for this. One day, there was Billy the Midget, and he formed a big group of angry people. No. Whatever. Because everybody thinks they're the big, badass of the group. They always think, if you're in the Navy, you're this, or the Army, you're this, the Air Force, they really don't question it. They know they got the good job. We all know that too. That's why they kicked a lot of nonsense in the Army. It's a pride thing, It's everybody wants to come home and say, I did this, I was the best. I'm coming home, hey, this is a story, even though I screwed up a lot. It happens. So, that's where you get it. It's just pride.
Tony, could you speak a little bit about the process you went through to transform your experiences and your thoughts into a
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to make a disclaimer real quick that, I heard some of you guys have classes and stuff, or if you have to go, you're not going to offend me if you have to walk. I totally understand the thing, you got to be somewhere. Because if I listen to a higher commander talk and he's boring the heck out of me, I'm like, I got to go to that thing. And they're like, you're so full of crap. You always go to that thing. I'm like, yeah, it's really important. I got to do this. It's totally understandable. I won't, go do what you got to do. But how the transformation was, in part, it was a lot of soul searching. I had to realize one thing is that if you want to know or gain knowledge about any area of life or any subject whatsoever, you have to take the time and do an in-depth study. You got to get in there and you got to find the meat and potatoes about what are people talking about and why is this happening. So in the off time, I had a lot of questions about the Bible, or why so-and-so did this, and why does this book contradict this book, and it was why are Catholics like this, and Mormons like that, and Buddhists like this, and Scientologists like that. I mean, it was just confusing, So that brought on a whole series of other questions and other events in my life. Okay, if this happens here, and you get beat up when you're a kid or whatever, why does it happen 10 years down the road that you're acting like this? And when I began to see, like I was explaining earlier, with patterns. So I knew my transformation was from the invasion, when the very first 4 casualties of the entire war, I was in that platoon, we were locking down Baghdad, and a car drove through a couple days after we started detaining people, and a guy opened the trunk, loaded with C4, 4 of them just went to heaven. So I was really, part of the transformation process was I was angry at the guy who was in charge of us. Because I had just come from the Marines. Here was a bad thing about the Marines. 6 months prior to leaving the Marines, I took a lot of crap about going in the Army. My first 6 months in the Army, I took a lot of crap about being a Marine. I had a year that I just really wasn't happy. And this guy that was in charge of us, I blamed him. I blamed him every day for those guys dying. He's like, why could you send him up there to do that? And I was selfish. That's what drove me to go even farther in Special Forces. When I wanted to quit in Special Forces, when we're out in the woods for 60 days and we're eating and it's freezing and all that other crap, I was like, no, I'm going to make this, I'm going to learn something, I'm going to do it, I'm going to drive on. When, years later, we're in the middle of the Sadr City battle, the guy who was in charge of me shows up with another unit. First time I see him. Immediately wanted to choke. We talked for about 5 minutes, and then we talked for like 2 days straight, and then we got in our first firefight again together. And all of it was gone. And I realized that regardless of the patterns or beliefs in the past, there was always something I never understood. It really wasn't his fault at all. There was a lot of other orders that came down that I wasn't aware of, and I was just too naive by my own anger. I was too blinded by my own rage and pride to accept what the actual truth was. When you can step back and just be a little humble about things, you can see clearly what's going on in your life. I always tell people this when they get in a fight. Boyfriend, girlfriend get in a fight. Brother and sister get in a fight. Who knows, whatever. Best thing you can do if you want to gain full understanding is you act like you're watching it on TV. You take yourself out of the equation and you watch yourself and you watch the other person. Then you begin to understand where that person's coming from, where you're coming from. Maybe this person is just so ticked off and likes to give you so much trouble, or maybe they're accusing you, or whatever. There's a reason behind it. Now, I'm not saying you can have time to do that with every time you engage somebody and have a confrontation. However, if for just one moment you can take yourself out of the position and try and see what's going on in the bigger picture, then you begin to transform. Then you begin to make some progress. Like I said, by no means in my life do I get along with everyone, but I still will always do the respect thing because it's the right thing to do, even if I don't like it. You gotta show you some respect on some level. You're a human being. We're all in life together. Who knows? You could be like Chad was the guy who that I made amends with. And he was my worst enemy for years, and I learned more from him than quite possibly anyone I knew. And it was all due to taking a deep breath. One quick psychological thing. Yeah, this is my ADHD kicking in again. If you get in a fight, give the other person a glass of water. Water cools your system down, gives you something to hold on to. Plus, it's good for your body. It works. Trust me. Water being the whole key.